Brilliance Audio.
The bow of our boat bounces across the crashing waves, sending spray and foam into the night sky. Scott Hughes, my partner on the underwater investigation unit, has his eyes trained on the ocean in front of us, trying to avoid hitting debris or, much worse, hitting someone. We had been wrapping up work at our office, getting ready to head home to our families when the call came in from the Coast Guard asking for assistance. A cruise ship, the Sea of Dreams, carrying 4,000 passengers and crew, was having mechanical problems and might be forced to abandon ship. The thought of trying to evacuate that many people was a nightmare from both a logistical and safety perspective. When the Costa Concordia sank off the coast of Isola del Giglio, more than 30 people died in what should have been a safe and orderly evacuation within swimming distance of the Italian resort town. The fact that the captain had been one of the first people to climb aboard a life raft didn't help. The U.S. Coast Guard trains for these situations, and the Coast Guard's 7th District more than most. Besides having to worry about drug runners, pleasure boaters, and wayward spring breakers on water scooters, the Coast Guard watches hundreds of thousands of passengers enter and leave the ports here each year aboard massive cruise ships that are virtual floating cities. Cities that sometimes catch on fire, sink, or become hotbeds of infectious disease. As one of the several agencies that work Florida's waterways, we're on the list of who to call when you need an assist. While we've trained with the Coast Guard and meet on a regular basis, this was one call I'd never expected to get. The fact that they did call us has me concerned. "There," says Officer Ava Crozier, a Fort Lauderdale Police Department Marine Unit member on loan to our unit. She points to where her night vision goggles have caught sight of something. In the distance, I can make out a faint line of lights. They're closer to the water than I'd expect and look different from what I've seen 1,000 times off the beach of Fort Lauderdale. She hands the goggles to me. "Something's wrong." I strap on the night vision goggles and see rows of deck lights, but something does seem off about them. They're fading in and out of view. My first thought is that it's being caused by the up and down movement of the waves. Then I realize what I'm seeing, and it's not good. "Smoke!" I shout over the roar of the engines. "Lots of smoke, coming out the portholes." "Damn," says Hughes. "Are there any lifeboats in the water?" "Not yet." I scan the area around the ship and spot a vessel 2 miles off the aft side. "I think the Weber's approaching." The USCGC Bernard C. Weber is one of the Coast Guard's Sentinel-class cutters based out of Miami. It must have been closest when the cruise ship sent out its SOS. "Good," says my partner. "The other ships are hours away." Suddenly, a roaring sound louder than our own marine diesel engines comes from overhead. We glance up at a Coast Guard helicopter racing to the scene. Its powerful searchlight shines down onto the ocean, turning everything below it to daylight. When the beam hits the Sea of Dreams, the smoke coming out of the aft portholes is even worse than it looked with night vision. Black clouds continue to billow out of the ship. With the smoke, the situation has gone from critical to nightmare, the potential evacuation now a certainty. I scan the ship again and realize why else the ship's lights looked so weird. The cruise ship is listing. "It's sinking!" I yell. "Fuck." Scott Hughes is the most straight-laced person I know. Simply hearing him say the word makes the severity of the situation seem so much worse. I pull out my phone and dial the number for my Coast Guard contact, the Chief of Staff for the district. "McPherson, are you on the scene?" asks Captain Thomas Plaint. "We're 5 minutes out. It looks like it might capsize." "That's what the crew is telling us. They're loading people into boats now." "I can get civilian support if you need it," I offer. Yes to anything. Use your judgment and make sure they have their radio channels open and keep their distance until we give them instructions."